Please, Wargaming, can we have a new Russian Tier 8 heavy premium tank? Please, please. So your wish is their command. This is the new, soon to be arriving, Object 252U. The Russian Tier 8 premium heavy tank. Because Lord only knows we haven't got enough of those in the game already. It does look mighty fine though, doesn't it? It does look mighty fine. So it's decked out in a special camo. Apparently there is a special camoed version, which is only going to be sold on the Russian server. Which is a shame because it actually looks quite nice. I don't know why they insist on writing stuff on the barrels, but anyway, there. Yeah, this is a brute and a beast, and it's coming to the shop very, very soon. In fact, we believe end of February you'll be able to get your hands on this. So the Daily Bounce is reporting that the Object 252U will be coming the end of February, more precisely the 23rd of February, across all regions. I can't confirm it's 100% accurate, but it seems very, very likely that that's when this thing will be arriving. So rather handily, Tanks GG has already got details of this tank on the site, so you can go and have a look at it now. So you can see here, DPM is god awful. 1,700 is pretty darn awful, but look at that average damage, 440 average damage. And a pretty good penetration at 225. Reload time of 15.3. That is why the DPM is so bad. That is terrible rate of fire of just under 4 rounds per minute. So yeah, you're going to be waiting a while to dish out that 440 average damage. Aim time 3.07 is not great either, and dispersion is 0.42, which is not brilliant. So basically this is an in-your-face type of gun. Does it have the sort of ammunition, sort of armour that you need to be able to be in your face kind of brawly tank? Oh, does it ever. 130mm of frontal armour, and it is really, really well, it's got such a massive beak on it that is even more angled than that. It's almost impenetrable from the front. And don't think the lower plate's any better. I'll show you in a minute. 100mm on the side is not fantastic, but it's okay, and 90 at the rear. Turret 250mm is outstanding. That's just like the IS-3 really. 150 on the side and 100 on the back. So wow, amazing armour. Really, really good armour. Carries a 122mm gun as we talked about. 30 shells maximum. Top speed of the vehicle is 35 kph, which is, yeah, okay. 14 in reverse. 70 horsepower engine. It weighs about 58 tons. There you go. So it gives it a power ratio of 13.67, which is, yeah, it's okay. Nothing special. The tank traverse of 30 degrees per second is okay. Ground resistance is not great, are they? But they're okay. It's workable. Gun depression is actually better than most of the Russian heavy tanks. -6 degrees is okay. Gun traverse 26.2 degrees per second is alright as well. Oh sorry, turret traverse is 25.03, which is alright. It's nothing special. View range 350, well, it is a Russian tank. But I promised you, look at this. This is the armour profile of this thing. And look at the beak on the front of this thing. So if this thing is coming at you, frontal armour, remember it was 130 angled, 300. This is coming straight at you. 300, 340 as you go out to the edge here. 300. I know, I'll fire at the lower plate. Yeah, 230. 230, 230, 230. Yeah, turret then, 400. 400. Gun mantle, 250, but it's spaced. Bit of a weak spot there, just beside the gun. Looks like it. Out here on the turret's edges, 400. The commander's hatch and the I guess that's the gunner's hatch there. It's 150, so that's doable. But look how small a target is. Now, if you can fire down on it, only 80 on the top, so that's okay. But it doesn't have that access panel that the IS-3 has. So look at this. Effective. So if you were angling this panel here, 390, 370. Just ridiculous armor. Just ridiculous armor. Even the rear, 130 because of the angling. 112 there. So yeah, this thing is a real brute. A real brute. It's a bit like the IS. You need to drive straight at the enemy because of the beak, but that lower plate is not that weak. I mean, 200, 250 pen guns will go through that, but wow, you're used to having paper thin armor on the lower plate. This is gonna be a doozy. So we know it's imminent because here it is, sitting in the test server. Now you can't play with it yet, but you can see it, you can compare it, and you can preview it. And it does look a bit of a brute, doesn't it? I mean, look at that beak. Now you would have thought this lower plate was really, really weak, but as you saw in those values, it is not. And if this thing keeps coming at you, ooh, good luck. The only thing that's going to save you is the fact the gun's pretty shite. Okay, so I'm comparing it to a whole load of its sort of peers in the game. Obviously you've got the Mark, the one that everything's compared by, the IS-3, which is probably the most tier best heavy tank in the game. Most people would agree. It's slightly underwhelming premium poor relation, the IS-3A, which has a 3-man crew and a sort of auto-loading system. The IS-6, which is the old granddaddy of premium tanks, been around forever, still very, very popular, good, solid, heavy premium. The IS-5, which was a Clan Wars only reward tank. The Chinese 110, which is the Chinese copy of the IS-3, very, very popular, good little tank. 2, which is the Chinese sort of premium copy of the, I don't know, it's the IS-3 or the IS-6, but one or the other. And the WZ-111, which is another Chinese premium copy. And you can see, if you look at the numbers here, the damage per minute, or so the average damage of all the tanks, the Object 252 is way higher than everybody else. It's a full 50 average damage better than the IS-3, so it's way, way better. It also has the same penetration as the IS-3, which is equal best in class. Absolutely brilliant, way better than the IS-6, but then the IS-6 gets preferential matchmaking, as does the 112 and the WZ, so that's why they have slightly lower, or considerably lower, penetration. But it's on rate of fire and reload time that the object falls down, so it's 3.91 as opposed to 4.71 with the IS-3, which is not great at all. And if you then look at the IS-6, it's even slower, so it fires 5.35 rounds per minute as opposed to 3.9. I mean, that's just crazy, absolutely crazy. A full shell, 1.44 shells per minute less fired out of the object, and it's because of that reload time. 15.3 is by far the worst of all the guns all in this sort of lineup of IS-3 type tanks, and that really is the rationale for why the average damage per minute of 1,721 is so bad. The IS-3 is 110 better. The IS-6 is 300 better. So yeah, that 1700 DPM is not great. However, turret traverse is very much in with all the rest. 25.303 is not the worst. That's the IS-3A, but it's down there. But it does get equal best gun depression of -6, which for a Russian heavy is pretty good. Aim time is not the worst. In fact, the IS-3 is worse, so 3.07. So it looks like a tank you're going to need the gun laying drive to help. Nowhere near as good as the 110, which has 2.78. Dispersion is pretty horrible as well, 0.42. It's not the worst. That honour, if you like, goes to the IS-3A, the IS-6, the IS-5, and the 112, who all have worse gun dispersion. So basic dispersion is how much the shot deviates, so it's effectively accuracy. So with that sort of aim time, that sort of dispersion, it's a typical 122mm gun on the object. It needs to be put in the face of the enemy so that you can't miss, basically, up close and personal. Hit point wise, it's on the lower side, 1500, which is the same as an IS-3, but 50 less than most of the others in the class. And as I said, it's the armour that it excels in. 130 is what it says on paper, but as we saw on the collision model, you know, that 130 with the angling of that wicked beak pushes it out to 350, something like that, and you know, good luck trying to pen that. Even tier 9s and 10s are going to struggle to do anything to it, and even aiming for the lower plate, that was still pretty strong. The 110 has a very similar sort of beak arrangement. It actually has 10mm less armour than the object, but its lower plate is very weak indeed. So yeah, the object definitely wins out on that score, and it still has pretty good side armour, 100, and very impressive rear armour of 90. So that's going to catch a few light tanks out as they try and circle it to death. Turret armour 250 is very good, 150 on the side and 100 on the rear, and as we saw on the model, it's very well rounded. It's one of the heavier tanks. In fact, it is the heaviest tank in class, so 51.5 tons, 700 horsepower engine, gives it a power ratio of 13.59, which is okay. Yeah, it's okay. It's slightly slower than the IS-3, but it's alright. Top speed of 35 is again slightly worse than the IS-3, and quite a lot worse than some of the others, but yeah, it's okay, it's usable. But it's traverse speed is actually the best in class. 31.29 is very good indeed. We'll forget concealment because there's no point, and spotting range 350 is pretty standard Russian fare. So there you go. So that's the Object 252U. Bit of a bruiser, huh? What do you reckon? No idea how much it will cost, but you know, if it'd probably be akin to an IS-6. So you're probably talking best part of £40 to buy this thing when it comes to the shop. It's definite power creep, definite part of the sort of Wargaming just seem to be obsessed with selling premium tanks at the moment, making money. You know, I don't mind them making money, but just there are so many premiums hitting the